labor. See, I was already in labor like 12 hours before I decided to get it, you know. And then as soon as I got it, the baby came. The baby came.
Of course.
You know, of course.
Well, thank you for sharing. I
Yes,
appreciate
thank you.
you too, as Virginia. All right. And it's more likely that they might have to use interventions such as vacuum extraction or forceps as well if you have an epidural. So just keep that in mind. And we're going to talk more about the medications next class. All right. So pushing techniques. You want to work with your body to get the baby out more easily. With that being said, try to use gravity as much as possible. If they'll let you do it in a more semi-reclined rather than laying flat on your back or things like that, discuss with them what options that they offer and let them know that you'd rather do one that has gravity help you with labor. Pushing with gravity makes sense. Making noise while pushing, grunting is natural and gets oxygen to the baby, so you want to make noise. So don't try to be stoic and all, I'm just going to be quiet, I'm not going to make any noise. Hum, make noise, grunt, scream at Chris, it's okay.
Chris is agreeing, by the way.
Regular day
Everyday
stuff.
life. And if you call her kitty during labor, we're not responsible.
Yes, absolutely.
If that happens, then Virginia might be the only one in the room. That's okay.
All right, and then so follow your body's urge to push only during contractions. So you might have the urge to push in between contractions, but you want to, it's basically like you don't want to do things the hard way. If you're not contracting, your body's not pushing that baby out, so then you're pushing for no reason. So if you wait for a contraction, then the uterus is contracting down and then you're pushing, and it's kind of like you're working together rather than not working in sync. So positions, the pushing position depends on the position of the baby and the comfort of the mother. It also depends on the hospital. They are going to decide what they like to do. So if you have any opinions on that, you want to discuss it with your provider beforehand. So now is when you should be having these open discussions. What positions do you allow in your delivery room and things like that. Positions that use the force of gravity are squatting, semi-sitting, and sitting on the toilet. Thighs need to be relaxed and apart to give the baby room. And then side lying position or hands on knees can be used if the baby's face is turned towards the mother's abdomen instead of the back, so that's that posterior position. Now breathing. As a contraction begins, you want to take 2 deep breaths and then take the...
Sorry, I was trying to help.
And then you want to take in a 3rd breath and breathe out slowly while pushing down and out. So, and does it say it on this one? I'm not sure. But you don't want to hold your breath in. If they ask you to hold your breath, only do it for 5 to 6 seconds. You don't want to do it any more than that. Oh, see, look, I didn't even see that. I just remember it. So you want to make sure, and some of the techniques I've seen some people use, one of the births I was in, the mom would hold her hand out when she was pushing and she would say, blow the birthday candles out. And so mom would focus on her hand and blow, and she was blowing enough so that she was touching the finger. So, and that kind of can get you in the mindset of kind of how you're supposed to be pushing, or not pushing, breathing. It says you can tuck your chin as well. Now, push through the contraction, breathe fast only if needed. You don't want to hyperventilate either. So, dad, that's going to be your job and support person to make sure if it looks like she's over hyperventilating or it looks like she's not getting enough oxygen, then you need to step in and remind her to breathe a little bit slower and slower down. And then when the contraction's over, take another 2 deep breaths. So this is called a signal breath. You do it at the beginning, at the end. So you would do two deep breaths in, and then you would go, and then you would do 2 more breaths. So that's what they call the signal breath. And then muscles. So you're going to use your abdominal muscles to push. These muscles push down on the uterus and help the contractions push the baby through the pelvic bone. So that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, let that help you. You don't want to work against your body. You want to release the pelvic floor muscles to let the baby out. These muscles are folded like an accordion or fan out to let the baby out. And then some others push, then drop back and tighten the pelvic floor if they become uncomfortable. So you want to make sure that you're reminding her to release her bottom, let the baby out, open up. Might be another thing. If she's worried about whether or not she's going to have bowel movement, she might try to tighten up because she doesn't want to do that. So just remind her, it's okay, just keep everything loose. And then welcome baby. So cute, huh? And then we're going to watch a small video. Do you guys have any questions about that?
This is not the small video.
It's not the small video.
This is
is
the video.
The video.
This is the video. Yes, ma'am. Sir.
And the reason we don't want you to hold your breath is because you would pass out.
Yeah. Just pull. I
A
didn't.
lot of moms will hold their breath during contractions when they're small. You know, you can hold yourself breath for 15 seconds. And that's cool, but you can't hold your breath for a minute or 5 seconds. Most of us can't. Right. I mean, you are doing a lot of swimming, so maybe you'll be able to a little bit.
But one of the things is when you're doing that blowout, if you really do need to breathe in, you can go right back at it. You're not gonna stop and do the 2 deep breaths again if you're still in
Exactly. The
contraction.
signal breath is only in the beginning, and then if you have to, because a contraction might be longer, you might not be able to blow out for a whole minute, let's say. So you can take another deep breath in and then just start over. You don't have to do that. The signal breath signals the beginning of the contraction and the end, or the beginning of the breathing session and the end of the breathing session. So. All right, so let me turn all this up before I start it.
After your baby's birth, you start the 3rd stage of labor.
No, we're in the 2nd stage.
If there are no
My bad. That's
Oh,
my
that
fault.
was easy.
Spoiler alert.
My bad.
I did not do myself any.
I don't mean it as girls like that.
Now I know she has a kid.
Once your cervix is fully dilated,
Like
you
reading the
might
last
feel
chapter
an
of
urge to
the
push right away. Or your contractions might seem to slow down or stop for 20 minutes or more before you feel the urge to push. You can use this time to get some much needed rest.
Good, it feels like she's in a good position. Yeah.
2nd stage contractions are less intense than transition contractions, but still powerful enough to push your baby down. They last 60 to 90 seconds each and are 3 to 5 minutes apart. The 2nd stage can be as short as 20 minutes or last as long as 3 hours or more. As 2nd stage contractions build, most women feel a strong urge to bear down and push. I do remember like feeling like the need to push and like the need to just be done with it. And my body was like telling me to, so it was very noticeable.
Cuando empezó a pujar Jackie, de verdad me entró un sentimiento de felicidad.
The mix of emotions you experience entering the pushing stage can be overwhelming. You might feel relief and energy from a second wind. Or, if pushing takes longer than expected, this excitement may be mixed with exhaustion and frustration. During 2nd stage, partners can help mom change into comfortable, helpful positions. 2nd stage is
very well
also
might
an
ask you
important
to hold
time
her
for
leg.
support people to provide focus and emotional support. Tell her you're doing great, you're almost there, or just a few more pushes, and remind her to rest between pushes.
Good job.
So good. I was really excited. It was the big moment.
I was very excited too, like all the waiting had paid off and all the pain had paid off.
By this point in labor, the top of the uterus is very thick and pushes on the baby with each contraction, helping the baby to move through the pelvis. This movement is called descent.
The nurse brought in the bar to use for pushing. And actually, I think the bar was really helpful. I liked that position a lot, especially because the midwives, through all of our education and stuff, talked about how important it was to make sure that I wasn't laying down so that my pelvic area was open and wasn't squished, because when you lay down, it kind of makes your pelvic opening smaller.
So we would call that squatting, just so you guys know.
Your healthcare provider might talk about your baby's pelvic station, which is the position of the baby's head in relation to the spines of the pelvis. The baby's position is measured in plus or minus centimeters from these spines. During most of the pregnancy, she is in the negative range. After lightening, she is usually even with the spines at the 0 station, and gradually during labor, she drops into the positive range. During second stage, the baby progresses to the +5 station for birth. As you push with each contraction, your baby's head moves down and then slips back slightly in between contractions. To help her head descend more easily, her skull is made up of separate bony plates that slide together to help her head fit through the birth canal. This is what gives many newborns a cone-shaped head for a few days or so after birth. The baby's head crowns when it stretches the vaginal opening to the fullest. This squeezes the head so it does not slip back anymore in between contractions. During crowning, mothers often feel a burning sensation in the perineum, the skin between the vaginal opening and the anus. After crowning comes the birth of the head. The baby extends her head and lifts her chin, allowing the top of her head to move out of the birth canal. Her head starts coming out face down and then turns to line up with her shoulders, which are still inside of her mother. With the next push, one shoulder comes out and then the other. After her shoulders are out, the rest of her body slips out and she is born.
It's just so different when you looking at it like this.
Well, I just kept with it
Oh my
and
goodness.
pushed him out.
And that's what they're gonna do for the immediate skin to skin, out and right on the chest.
The finish line, I was overwhelmed with emotion and joy and all those things.
You stay when you get used to having a baby.
I saw my baby and I was just like, oh my gosh, so this is over? But this little thing that wasn't here and my tummy is now out and oh god, it was just such a great experience. I remember like a shock, like all this work, I got this little baby now. Yeah. After your baby's birth,
Yeah, we'll stop.
you start.
So, not so graphic, I know, but you know that's very, very quickly what happens. Of course, it's not that. Sorry, good kitchen.
Not that fast. There's edited parts.
Yes, yes, it is not that
Here, you
fast.
go work your
It's not like
magic.
a
I don't know
baby
how to
story.
do that part.
Just restart from beginning, escape, and then restart from beginning.
Escape. Hmm? We're
Escape.
taking a break apparently.
Escape.
Yes, and then restart from beginning, or restart from current slide, the second one.
Well, let's go back because I already clicked one.
All right. So let's take a break.
We need to after that.
I know.